Yo, how y'all doing today? First off, I just want to talk about how close we are to 20k, like this fast. I'm still a little shell-shocked. It feels like we just hit 10k. But I'm just happy to make stuff that you guys like, and I'm also just happy to put you onto stuff that I personally enjoy. But enough about that. I feel like it was about time that I just made a vid where I put you onto some crazy things, you know? Put you onto some peak, if you will. And I woke up early for this one, so don't mind my voice. I know I sound like Soul right now. Manga. But let's get straight into it. And as always, everything I'm about to say throughout the duration of this video will be an absolute objective fact, and you cannot argue, because last time I kicked it off with a Metroidvania, you know, Pseudo Regalia still holds up to this day. I love that game to death. So why not do the same thing again? In a previous video, I talked about 9 Souls, but I'm going to be completely honest with you, I didn't do the game justice at all. I chalked it up to the game being pretty good. I just wrote it off as a Hollow Knight Sekiro inspired game with great visuals and a good story, but it is much more than that. I know a decent amount of you probably already know about the game, but I would like to give a perspective that is not Hollow Knight coded, because this game blew my mind. As in, don't hesitate, go get it now type of blew my mind. As a Metroidvania connoisseur, I like when the story is the core of the game. I like when the exploration aids in finding out more lore about the world, you know, world building in general. It can be for, you know, gameplay purposes, but I feel like it's always a boost when it ties together with the story. That's why I hold Hollow Knight and Hyper Light Drifter so dear to me. An example of a game doing the opposite would probably be Mega Man Z3. I still like Mega Man Z3, don't get me wrong, but I always feel very, very accomplished when I get insight on the world that I'm in, and I get abilities, of course. That was my first big hurdle for this game personally, and it does backflips over that hurdle. I understand people's gripes with Metroidvanias. Sometimes they can, you know, be sluggish, sometimes they get dragged, sometimes they can be aimless. But I personally feel like this game does not have a lot of those issues. Because if you do feel like Metroidvanias are aimless, I have good news for you. You will always have somewhere to go in this game, and when you initially start off in this game, you have a very clear direction of where to go. As a person that's 100% Hollow Knight and Sekiro, I feel like this game takes more inspiration from Sekiro as far as where you should be going. There's multiple routes that you can take, but they all kind of lead you onto the same trajectory, if you get what I mean. The level layout makes it very clear that everything is more or less interconnected, and I feel like having a great sense of direction is what brings more new people into Metroidvanias that have reservations in it. So I hope that eases some doubts in your mind about it. With that said, this game can be very difficult at times, nearly all the time. Because while this game does have a parry, it does not leave much room for error at all. Because when you do mistime a parry, you're essentially just blocking an attack. And when you do block an attack and it hits you, it does chip damage, and it stacks very fast. Parries don't have impossible timing or anything. It's a decently open window, but it does require some skill and thought. I feel like this system works very well and aids in the difficulty of this game. It's also pretty cool that there are different types of parries that you use to parry different types of moves. And the game does have a system that's similar to Charm Notches in Hollow Knight that allows you to equip different attributes and abilities to further help you. This game's combat is super fluid. The better you get at this game, the slower it feels like the enemies are moving. At first, it feels like you have to poke enemies, wait for them to attack you, parry them, and then go from there, but you don't have to do any of that at all. You still have to parry them, but you don't have to wait. This game rewards constant pressure because it doesn't really feel like the enemies are scaling with your strength. It feels like they're scaling with your skill at the game, and that is perfect. Also, these environments are beautiful. The devs describe it as tile punk, and honestly, that is a perfect description. The different areas vary greatly, but everything still feels connected, you know? The visual world building is amazing. Everything feels corrupted. Not infected like Hollow Knight, but corrupted. I won't get into the story though, because honestly, that's something that you're gonna have to experience for yourself. Oh, and one last thing, this OST is amazing. It's amazing. But I highly, highly recommend this game. It has the canon seal of approval. Get it on whatever platform you prefer. It's also on Game Pass, but yeah. 9 Souls, go peep. Next up, I want to spin back on Rain World. I know I recently talked about this game, but I completed the Downpour DLC fully, and Jesus Christ. I was trying to hold back before on putting this game in my top 5 until I completed everything and got to fully digest it. This game is in my top 5 now. But I guess I'll re-explain the core of Rain World. You are prey to many and predator to few, unless you play as the hunter like me. Give me your head! Anyways, typically you're gonna start off as the survivor, separated from your family by this ravenous storm and thrown into this abandoned landscape. And for some unknown reason, this little yellow thing is observing you everywhere you go. You quickly pick up on the fact that you need to scavenge for food, eat enough food to fill up your pips in the bottom, and then sleep to avoid the rain. And so the cycle continues. So from here, why don't we just explore? Oh, I'm dead. Yep. Rain World. You get thrown straight into the belly of the beast. This robust ecosystem is not forgiving in the slightest. To hordes of giant spiders, to lizards that camouflage within the walls and then spear you across the map, to bloodthirsty vultures that would rather eat you alive than dead. I thought y'all were vultures. Why are you sniping me? To whatever this abomination is. Rain World is one of my favorite games of all time. I've said it once and I'll say it again. There is beauty to decay. The story of this game is amazing. The lore pieces are just perfectly in place, and the DLC further explores the story. Specifically the Downpour DLC, I haven't played the Watcher DLC yet, but I've been told that it's less about the story and more of a focus on the gameplay, which is perfect because I need an intermission to just digest everything. The movement of this game is really good, and if you're interested in speedrunning, I guess, the movement tech is also really cool. It doesn't feel glitchy or exploitive. It's built around the core mechanics. I find myself using some of it just playing the game naturally. And the enemy AI in this game is the backbone of what makes this ecosystem work as well as it does. Because even when they're off screen, they're still active. And I mean that quite literally. It's a pretty big world too. Like, the map is huge. When they are not on screen, they are still active across the entire map. The level design is phenomenal. The enemy variation is amazing. The bestiary is quite big, and the rain is, oh my God. Yeah, to say it's a universal equalizer is an understatement. And the DLC pretty much just adds on to literally everything I just mentioned times 4. More slug cats to play as, more enemy types, more environmental changes. It's crazy. Go buy Rain World. You absolutely have to do yourself the favor. There's truly no other game like it. Next up, we got Corn Kid 64. You knew there was gonna be a movement game in a canon video. What do I look like? This game is the yin to the bit catches yang. I mean, look at it. Like, really look at it. It's so fluid and expressive. The animations, oh my God. Everything looks like it's straight out of a fever dream because you're in one, so it makes all your environments so strange and crazy, yet everything makes perfect sense. Look at that squash and stretch, bro. Look at that squash and stretch. And just like the title implies, it does support N64 controllers perfectly. The game's aesthetics are amazing as well. They understood the assignment. Not that it's hard to necessarily mess up N64 graphics, but it just feels so integral here. I feel like if you're a fan of 3D platformers, this is just a must play. It's insane. My only wish is that, like, I wish we got more DLC or content for this game, but the replayability is stellar just due to the game mechanically being so good. And these character designs, it's a masterclass. I can't get over how this game looks. Please play this. And it's only $7. Like, what? Corn Kid 64, Canon Golden Seal of Approval. Please play this now. Okay, I had to calm down a little bit because that game is sick. Next up, we got 2 roguelikes for you. And it's crazy because I used to not really like roguelikes a lot. But looking back now, I don't know what I was on. I was so lame. I feel like Have a Nice Death and Balatro were my gateways into this genre fully because I love roguelikes now. To the point where I didn't know which one I wanted to recommend first, but I guess we'll start with Haste. I spent more time at that one after all. I talked about Haste in the previous video as well, but that was just the demo. The full game is a whole nother demon. One thing about this game though, sadly it fell victim to Sonic discourse because every game with slope physics and speed has to, you know, be compared to Sonic for some reason. But that aside, this is one of the craziest roguelikes I've ever played. Between the different abilities that you can get and how the levels evolve throughout your run, I don't even know where to start. First off though, let's talk about the way that momentum and speed retention works in this game. Because it's a simple yet intuitive system. When you start off a level, you're running at a decent speed and there's a bunch of humps and slopes in the ground. You run off the incline and you land on the decline, but the way you land and where you land matters. Because the key to maintaining and increasing your speed when you land is landing perfectly. Your landing is everything on this game until you get like a broken build and you just blitz through everything. It also builds you meter that allows you to summon this hoverboard that's resistant to friction. The hoverboard is kind of whatever, not gonna lie, but it's not useless. And the way that you progress through the main part of this game is by going into these shards and completing the levels within them. But let's talk about the main reason I like this game. Let's talk about endless mode and how you can break the game entirely. Endless mode is exactly what you think it is, but it showcases just how much these abilities break the game. And sometimes it breaks the game a little bit too much, but who cares? And honestly, since it's this roguelike specifically, I guess I can just show you a cracked build rather than tell you explicitly. You see what I mean? Now, while I do recommend this game, it isn't perfect or anything. I think the bosses leave a lot more to be desired. They used to be a bit more unfair. They got nerfed, but the design still isn't really appealing to me, which is crazy because I feel like one of the biggest highlights of roguelikes are the bosses. But the gameplay is so good, I can easily look past that, and the procedural generation within the levels is really cool as well. It's nice seeing it evolve the further you go down your run. The OST is very hard too, so this gets a canon seal of approval. And for the next roguelike, we have Astral Ascent. And straight out of the gate, look at this sprite work. The fluidity of the animation, the detail, the effects is crazy. Presentation, system mechanics, gameplay, content, voice acting, and look at how underrated it is. But I don't want to sell you on a game just by saying it looks pretty, because the gameplay is stellar. The combat for sure is the biggest plus this game has. At its core, it's a 2D hack and slash game with one of the most fluid and responsive dodges I've ever seen in gaming. No exaggeration. And there's 5 playable characters in the game for you to unlock, and they all play differently. Your character can scale pretty fast against the base enemies, but there is a difficulty hike when it comes to these bosses. And as far as the mechanical aspect of the combat, I guess if I just pass it off as a side-scrolling hack and slash roguelike, it sounds pretty similar to Dead Cells, right? Well, it's kind of the exact opposite, at least in the approach to the combat, because everything gets flipped on its head when you factor in spells. And to regain mana, you hit people with basic attacks. So the gameplay loop feeds back into itself. Pretty cool way to expand on the formula, in my opinion. And the volume of spells is crazy. And it's not like you can just pick which spell to spam. You have to use all 4 spells in your queue in order. So, you know, it keeps the gameplay fresh, more or less. And the things to slot on your character don't end there, because you can equip passives as well, and weapons, and you can up difficulty modes, and you can gain summons. There's also a crazy amount of enemies with different variations of said enemies. The boss fights are insane. They have crazy cinematics, they have desperation attacks, they have patterns that remind me of like attacks straight out of the Calamity mod for Terraria. No, like seriously though, I live for the bosses in this game. I haven't had this much fun learning attack patterns since playing Crosscode or like Hollow Knight, of course. And this game gets insane content updates, a decent amount, and a lot of the updates are in response to player criticism, so it has a pretty good turnaround rate. They add new biomes, modes, spells, enemy types, sometimes even characters. It feels like the game is just the gift that keeps on giving, so you know, 100% canon seal of approval, of course. Go play Astral Ascent. And to wrap up this segment, I absolutely have to tell you to go watch Indie Cross. There's a 97% chance that you've already seen it, and there's a 99% chance that you've seen clips of it. I don't care. Anybody that's watched it understands I have to tell you to go watch it now. Or at least watch it after this video, please. To say that Moro cooked is an understatement, even if you don't care for the plot, which I don't know why you don't, just have fun. It's still amazing. Great animation, perfect voice acting, and I like how all the villains are... I'm not gonna spoil that. But yeah, go watch Indie Cross. That about ends off the indie game section. I guess I could give you a few bonus games to look out for though. Look out for Constance. Absolutely look out for Advent Neon. Look out for Outrider Mako. Look out for Mindwave. And last but most definitely not least, look out for Nitro Express. I'll probably cover all of these in more detail in a later video, but yeah, those are the recommendations. And now, we double it up, or triple it up, or quadruple it up. You know the only things that I like more than games are music and art, right? And money, I guess, to get better equipment to make better music or something. I don't know. You know, usually I give out artists that are decently low-key, like not too many people know about them at all. But some people, few and far between, do recognize the artist. How about I give you some stuff only I know about? Like, deadass, only I know about this. And if you do know about this, you know about me, so... yeah. First off, we got Soul. Soul Sequoia, my twin, you know, Soul, my twin. Like, I'll let the music speak for itself. By the way, she self-prods everything. I know generational talent. I envy her. Play that shit.
Tell me what you want. Tell me what you sense. Tell me what you want. I'm thinking about you. Yeah, how could you not hear me? That's all I do for you. When that new boy talking shit, acting like I can't see the two. I got no new friends. Sleep at 7 in the morning.
How does she do it, man? I could sit in VC, watch the entire breakdown, and retain zero information. Next up, we got Fritz, my mortal enemy. You wanna know a fun fact about Fritz? She has writer's block. let's see what writer's block sounds like.
Clutching a bottle of juice, rather sip on the shit like I'm sipping on alcohol. Out of the business, on some RPG making type shit. 40K pussy out of raw, and a collateral. Man, can't really fuck with you niggas. You swear you got love for these niggas. I swear I got enough for these niggas. I swear I got some for these niggas. I swear I'm a son with these niggas like that. It's a switch up, I'm squad shit. Put the pick up, my holy, which one?
One day I'm gonna disappear off the face of the planet and everybody's gonna wonder why, and it's just gonna be a little note with Fritz written in blood. Also, she self-prides everything. Alright, enough of the exclusive pics. I'll move on to the bigger artists, aka the artists that I can't show you the music of because I'll get copyrighted, but I'll do my best to explain it, of course. And with that, we have Nosu and their song Bakerloo. The song starts like a mix between Tokyo Pill and Nujabes. It gives that old school kind of like alternative hip-hop vibe, if that makes sense. And then you get to the middle of the song and these heavenly vocals come in. It almost reminds me of like Lotus Juice and Lin, but with that experimental edge to it. It's like an alternate universe Persona 5 track, so I heavily recommend that you get into their music. Next up, we got Davin Glover, a 1 in 1 million guitarist. If you've heard of him, there's a high chance you've probably seen him on YouTube Shorts or something. Like, bro, he's an absolute geeker with the guitar. I don't understand how this is even possible. And his actual release music is super good. It's some of the best funk that I've heard. It's like a mix of Memphis and I don't even know. And when I first heard it, I thought he was like getting other artists to hop on, or like he was sampling something and he's a prod. No, he just does everything. Like, it was kind of a shell shock. So yeah, go listen to Davin Glover. One of a kind guitarist. One of a kind, in my opinion at least. And I think that about sums up what I have in my little goodie bag of music, but how about we triple it up? Oh, but not before praising the queen of the underground right now.
Let's go, boom, 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 just like the Vega boys in 98. To find the greats is mine to take the place of. Man, fuck a pay stub, they playing my tapes like my pocket's mega, my comments calling me a beta. I can't debate ya.
Brokey is my top one. I do not care, bro. Anyways, let's talk about manga. Rapid fire too, unless I just want to, you know, glaze extra hard. Let's get the obvious one out of the way. Gachiakuta, or Gachiakuta. I've pronounced it both ways, but Gachiakuta sounds cooler right now for me. It's easily my favorite new gen right now. From the art to the story, Kei Orana just bleeds consistency. The way she approaches characterization just works in tandem perfectly with her expressive art style. I like when mangaka over-exaggerate with what they're depicting on a panel because it just allows for a lot more range and flexibility with how you show scenes. Rather than having the entire manga be depicted as, you know, sad and depressing or comedic, it instead blends all of it, so it makes the heavier hitting scenes hit that much harder. Because when there's a big contrast between sad and happy, I don't know, that split change in an instant, I always love that from manga. You can see that with Dandadan a lot too, but you know, it's obvious that you should be reading Dandadan. Another manga that I completed that I didn't expect to like that much was also Shojo Null. My only complaint is that I felt like the ending was a little bit rushed. It was super abrupt. I feel like this manga had a lot more to tell, but they weren't allowed to, probably, because the basic foundation was super cool. It was like Tokyo Ghoul meets Ghost in the Shell. It didn't get to be as expansive as either of those things, but I feel like with the premise it had, it definitely could have if it got more time. It also depicts some interesting conversations in some pretty unique ways, like the way that humanity likes to dehumanize things. And during the later half of the manga, I could see a little bit of Akira influence as well. It was super subtle, but I could definitely feel like it's there. I still feel like this manga is worth reading. And for my top one recommendation, you should definitely go ahead and read Vinland Saga. I genuinely have no critiques or complaints about this manga. I don't know, I've been past the honeymoon phase for years now for it, so honestly, I just think this is my favorite manga of all time. The level of detail in the art is actually insane. I think my hands would fall off and my brain would turn to mush if I had to draw this consistently. And this manga perfectly depicts the passage of time because it goes hand in hand with Thorfinn's character development. I've never seen a manga switch its tone 3 times and have it just come out with no bumps. But yeah, definitely read Vinland Saga. Also read Magi. I think it's pretty good. It's not without its flaws, but every character does what I need them to do, you know what I mean? Also read Deadman Wonderland, one of my favorites. Definitely one of my favorites. The anime never got to, you know, fully be a thing, but the manga is absolutely beautiful. I love the ending. Read Air Gear. Tokyo Ghoul is my 2nd favorite manga of all time. My 3rd favorite manga of all time is Soul Eater. Dude, read Choujin X. Like, read Choujin X now. The power system is super cool. The art is absolutely amazing. But yeah, go read Choujin X. I'll hold off for now. I definitely have other recommendations, of course, but we'd be sitting here all day. But nobody wants to hear me yap for 2 hours, right? Instead, let's talk about how Spider-Man Back in Black is the best storyline that he's ever had and how it should be adapted to an animated film. I'm just kidding. Maybe in another video. Link to my Discord server is in the description as always. Also a link to the Spotify playlist of all the artists I've recommended is also there, so check those out if you want. Yeah. I don't know how to end.
Up in here with Mike too, they can find you in the ditch, yeah. Straight for high